Okay, so apart from when we were talking about last week, the new Sunday school theme, which, by the way, who remembers what it is? The one commandment, the new commandment. So yes, like the 11th commandment. And do you remember what it is? Go ahead. Love one another. But what does the verse actually say? Does anyone remember? Love your enemies. We talked about that today. Seraphim? If by this everyone else will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another. Good. Now, who remembers what Bible story we were talking about when we ended back in June? We were talking about Joseph and his brothers. Do we remember? All right, we're going to sum up very quickly. So, Abraham, we remember Abraham. God called him out of Mesopotamia, took him into Judea, and told him he would be the father of many nations. Abraham had two sons, Isaac and Esau. Isaac had the sons Jacob and, Abraham had two sons, Isaac and Ishmael. What a thing to forget. And Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Jacob had how many sons? 12, and a daughter. And of those 12 sons, who was Jacob's favorite? Do you remember? Joseph. And Jacob gave Joseph a coat of many colors, which you can see in the movie if you really want to. And his brothers were jealous. They did not love him. So what did they do? They put him in a deep hole, like you said. And then what did they do? They left him there for a while. Some of them wanted to kill him. And some of them decided, let's sell him as a slave. And he ended up in Egypt, where he was the slave of the high priest Potiphar. And then Potiphar's wife lied about him and told a story. So Potiphar threw him in jail. And when he was in jail, he interpreted the dreams of a couple of the servants of the Pharaoh, of the king, that one of them would be brought out of prison and put back in his place as the chief cupbearer, and the other one would have his head cut off. Right? So, I think we left him there. And then, we talked about the famine, right? We talked about the Pharaoh's dreams, the 7 fat cows and the 7 thin cows, and the thin cows ate the fat cows, and it was a very creepy dream. And then he called Joseph to come from the prison, and Joseph said, so, these are years. There's going to be years of plenty, and then there will be years of famine, and the years of famine will be so bad there won't be enough food. It'll be as though the 7 fat years didn't even happen. So, you, king, should pick a wise man, set him in charge of everything, and he will take the surplus, the extra from the 7 years of plenty, and save them up so that the people won't all die during the 7 years of famine. And the king says, great, cool, how about you? And Joseph says, well, I don't know. I'm kidding. He says, thank you, I will do that. And then, did we get to what happens next? His brothers come out of the land of what is now Israel, out of Canaan, because the famine is there too, and they're hungry. So they're just coming to buy grain. And they come in, and Joseph recognizes them. And does he say, guards, seize those evil men. They sold me into slavery and now put them in prison. No. He does play some tricks on them. Did we get to the tricks he plays? Okay. So this is going to be review day. He puts his own cup, he puts their money back in their bags first, and they go back on their way, and they're like, we paid them. Why is our money in our bags? Oh, no. And they go back, and Joseph's servant says, no, you paid me. They didn't, but he says, you paid me. It's okay. God has been gracious to you. Take your money and go. So the next time they come back, they bring Benjamin, the baby brother, Joseph's brother, the son of his mother, because Jacob had lots of wives. It's not good, but it's the way that it was. So they put Joseph's cup into the bag of Benjamin, so that and then after they're on their way back, the soldiers go after them, they find them, they search their bags, they find the cup. They know Benjamin didn't take it, but it looks like he took it. And they're going to seize him and take him back, and Judah says, no, 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 take me. Don't do this. Don't bring our father's gray hair down into the grave. And Joseph can't stand it anymore, and he reveals himself to them. He says, I am your brother Joseph, and don't be mad at yourselves. Don't worry that I'm mad at you, because you sold me into slavery, because what you intended to be bad, God has turned into good. Because I am here, now there is enough food, none of you will starve. Go get my father and all of your households and bring them into the land of Egypt. You'll live here, you'll have enough food, and everything will be okay. Right? So, that's the story of Joseph. That's how the children of Israel get into Egypt, which is where they have to be when baby Moses gets put in the bulrushes and so forth. So we're going to get to that next time. Hang on. Okay. We're summing up the story very quickly. I know I'm skipping stuff. You can read about all of this in the end of the book of Genesis if you want to. It's kind of exciting. But there's an important point. Joseph is a little bit like Jesus. Do you remember how much his brothers sold him for? Well, what do you guess? No. 30 pieces of silver. Yeah, you were going to say that. And how much did Jesus get sold for? 30 pieces of silver. And where did Joseph get sold to? Egypt. And how is the temperature in Egypt? It's hot. Not quite like hell, but close enough. I don't want to go to Egypt. I like it cold like it is now, so that's just me. Or like it was last week, that was too hot. Okay. Anyway, so Joseph gets sent to Egypt, where he's thrown into prison. Jesus, after being sold, goes into Hades, where he becomes the one who saves us and delivers us. So pay attention. As you look at the hymns of the church, Easter's not too far away. Pay attention. You're going to see sometimes they talk about Joseph and how he is a prophecy of Jesus. For now, remember, the other thing, I guess, is if you don't like your siblings, don't throw them in a well and sell them into slavery in Egypt. Or maybe just work to get along with your siblings, even if it's hard. Okay? So with that in mind, let's stand up. All of you, you're going back to the narthex and then down the center aisle, and then we'll take communion together.